So the European industry is in the middle of a significant transformation. They are shifting from using fossil fuels primarily and now embracing electrification more and more. However, for the European companies, they face structurally higher prices than in other regions of the world, and they have been particularly impacted recently by external shocks like the war in Ukraine or COVID. At the same time, we have insufficient grid capacity and a lot of bottlenecks, administrative bottlenecks that have slowed down the ability to have new grid connections. So these factors make electrification for industry very challenging and very costly. Nevertheless, industrials have been responding with remarkable adaptability, and they have been focusing on three things to actually manage to go around these hurdles. They have procured more and more directly the renewable electricity. They have implemented energy efficiency programs, and they have been investing on on-site generation and storage of energy. So a good thing is that most industrial processes have some kind of flexibility within them. It means that you can either temporarily reduce how much they're going to consume or shift it in time and do things later, reschedule things. And this ability enables industrial companies to participate in energy markets, to provide services to the grid, and doing that, they are getting paid for it. In practice, the way it works is that the operator of the grid, which we call the TSO, will actually send a signal for the industrial to reduce or change the way they would consume. In the end, it generates a new flow of revenue, which they can incorporate as part of a way to reduce their overall energy costs. We are seeing this as a very big trend in the industrial space, and it's a very fast enabler also of electrification. Indeed, we are really in a super critical time right now, in the sense that we are approaching a tipping point of the energy transition. Last year, around 30% of the electricity that was consumed in Europe was coming from renewable sources, and those sources are intermittent. So if we take a step back, traditionally, in the past, demand was the main driver of price for electricity. So we always had electricity available, and when we needed it, that was really the main driver of price. But now, with more and more renewables, the main driver of price becomes the weather. And so it's a complete transformation, which means that if you are able to consume more when the weather conditions generate a lot of electricity, you can reduce your bills. So in the end, if you are an industrial company, having the ability to proactively manage your electricity in order to consume more when the sun is shining and when the wind is blowing can generate for you lower costs and down the line a competitive advantage. So we're actually shifting from a reactive approach to flexibility to a more proactive one. And this creates many different use cases that are very concrete for industrials. In order to actually be able to capitalize on price variability, industrials need to be able to plan their consumption accordingly. This is what we call load shifting. It involves basically adapting your consumption based on a forecast of what the electricity price will be the next day, changing every hour. It's a common practice for industrials. It has been around for decades already, but with more renewables in the grid and more price volatility, the forecasting, understanding what the price will be the following day or the following weeks, becomes more and more complex and requires more and more sophisticated tools to do that. After forecasting, to be able to really capture the benefit of variability of price, industrials also need to be able to build buffer into their processes in order to become more flexible. They can do that by investing, for example, in storage, be it batteries or thermal storage. Very interesting thing for industrial companies with going to a more proactive approach is that it doesn't erase the previous benefits of being also reactive. These are very synergetic actions, and that down the line generate more revenue for companies. I really think there are three key enablers to have more flexibility in the industrial space in the future. The first thing is that we need to create a financial incentive for flexibility. And this goes through exposing industrial companies to price variability more and more. This comes actually through their electricity supply contracts, where we need to develop more dynamic and spot indexed electricity contracts. To be able to get there, we need energy suppliers to innovate and create new offers that will actually be matching the broad range of needs that the industry has, because it's very heterogeneous. The second thing is that we need to foster entrepreneurship in the realm of flexibility services. In Europe, we have over 100 flexibility providers already today, but they still face a lot of regulatory barriers to unleash their full potential. The third point is that we absolutely need to reinforce the link between energy management and sustainability. In Europe, we have the chance that consuming more renewables is often cheaper for industrial companies. Increasing transparency and awareness surrounding renewable energy consumption will empower industries to excel across all dimensions.